Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Lee Warren, writer and neurosurgeon, and I've been getting a lot of emails and blog comments asking me, how do you leave a review for a podcast on iTunes? So I thought I would just show you rather than replying to lots of individual emails. So just go to your favorite web browser. I use Google Chrome, but whatever you use, Internet Explorer or Firefox or Safari, whatever, and go to, let's use my website as an example, wleewarren.com. md.com. So we'll go to wleewarrenmd.com because I know how to get to my podcast from there. So if you want to visit my website, which is all about becoming healthier, feeling better, and being happier, then in addition to an obvious and overt ad for my book, No Place to Hide, A Brain Surgeon's Long Journey Home from the Iraq War, you'll see that my most recent blog post was actually a podcast episode. So you have You Start Today 007, How to Come Home from Your War. And if you click on that, you'll go to the page on my site where the podcast episode is actually hosted. Now you could click there and play it within the window and just listen to the podcast. You can actually download that episode as well in an MP3 file to your computer. But if you want to review it, you've got to read down this page, and you'll see that I've left you a handy link right here that says go here to leave a review on iTunes. So if you click there, that's going to take you to the iTunes website, which is right here on the internet. It says iTunes Preview, and you can read all about my podcast, You Start Today, Real Life Change with Dr. Lee Warren. And then you can see the description. It's got a little bio of me. It's got a link to my website, and you can actually listen to any of these podcast episodes right here on the internet at the iTunes webpage. But if you want to review it, and I think this is where people are getting confused. If you want to review the show, you have to go and view it in iTunes. So this presupposes that you have the iTunes program on your computer. If you have a Mac or if you use an iPhone or an iPod, then you already have that on your computer. But if you don't, if you have a different type of phone or if you don't use iTunes, then when you click this, it's going to ask you to install the iTunes program, which is easy to do. But assuming you already have iTunes, if you just click on this button, View in iTunes, then it's going to ask you to launch the application, and you'll go into your iTunes application and it'll automatically go right directly to the You Start Today page for this podcast. Now, if you were trying to review a different podcast, then it would take you there. So now that you're on my podcast page, You Start Today, Real Life Change with Dr. Lee Warren, you can go down and listen to any of the episodes. You can subscribe to the podcast here. Now, if you're new to podcasting, what subscription means is that when you subscribe to a podcast, every time a new episode is uploaded by the author of that podcast, so in my case that's every week on Wednesdays, every time a new podcast is available in the iTunes store, it will automatically download to your device. So if you listen to it on your iPad or your iPhone or on your on your computer, whatever, it's going to automatically populate in there every week, so you don't have to go out and look to see if there's a new episode. So that's a handy thing. But now we're talking about ratings here, and if you'll notice right up here under the title of the podcast, there's 3 tabs here: Details, Ratings and Reviews, and Related. So Details is going to be the default. It'll always land there, and it just tells you about the show and what episodes are available. Ratings and Reviews, though, you have to click that and you can see down a listing of the people that have reviewed this show. Now, my show is pretty new, so there's only one review here. And somebody named Seabreezy said, "This will help your brain," and gave me a 5-star rating and said, "All our brains need this. Thanks." Now, I appreciate that, Seabreezy, whoever you are. You have officially now been the first person to review this podcast. Thank you. Now, the rest of you, if you have come here with the intention of reviewing the podcast, then you're going to want to click on the number of stars that you think the show deserves. 1 being I hate it, and 5 being it's great. Hope you'll all give me 5 stars, but go ahead and click that to whatever star rating you want. And then go down under customer reviews, and you can click on write a review right there. You click that button, type in your title, this podcast is amazing, or whatever you want the headline to be. And under review, then you type what you think. This is wonderful, it's terrible, it's great, it helped me, it didn't help me, Dr. Warren saved my life, whatever you want to say. And then once you're done writing your review, you can come down here. Now, by the way, iTunes will automatically delete anything that has profanity or any kind of inappropriate content. So I'm sure none of you that are listening to my podcast would do that, but just so you know, anything inappropriate won't ever show up in the iTunes store. Then you can click submit. Now, in my case, I'm not going to click submit because iTunes also will automatically delete reviews that are posted by the owner of the show. So, since this is my podcast page and I'm signed in my account, if I tried to review it, iTunes wouldn't let me, and that's how they keep there from being false reviews or artificial elevation in the ratings. So once you're done with your review, you can click submit, and in short order it will show up right here under Sea Breezes, and all of you can begin to post your reviews. I hope you enjoy the You Start Today Real Life Change with Dr. Lee Warren podcast. It's a great way to learn to become healthier, feel better, and be happier. And if you like it, please do come to iTunes and review it. You can review anybody else's podcast here too, but I really would appreciate it if you would go ahead and leave one for my show. That's how people in the iTunes store find out about new shows, and that's, if you think that my show is helpful, then that's how other people can discover this helpful information. So thanks so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful. God bless you and have a great day.